what I would like to speak about is a growth management ordinance in this town. Historically, the town of Londonderry has had two, one in 1998 and one in 2002. And the growth management ordinance sunsetted, the 2000 ordinance sunsetted in 2017. So we do not have a growth management ordinance in this town. One of the criteria that we look at in trying to develop what we call a GMO, that's what it's called, is the ability of our community to absorb the growth, number one, in schools, police, and fire. Can we absorb the growth? That's key. Consideration to demonstrate that the departments will be taxed with additional growth. I can tell you, I'm a creature of habit. I'm up at 4 o'clock every morning. First thing I do as a responsibility to the town, to the taxpayers, is I go through the reports that are online. I go through the police reports. I have some concerns now, and I think the chief is trying to manipulate some things so we have enough paramedics to continue the service that we all enjoy. We're not getting any, believe it or not, younger. So I've looked at over the budget period, the schools are looking to build, renovate, add classrooms. So even though and correct me, Bob, you're a school committee member, even though the enrollment has gone down, the school still has some needs. And I understand it. I may not like it, but I understand it, okay? So even if the schools are down, there's still pressure, as you can tell through this last budget season and CIP, that the schools need facilities. We've got issues. I take a look at the Londonderry Fire Department. During the budget season, the chief has got up, and we're shorthanded. We have vacancies. And that's great news, chief, that the fire department's vacancies are going to be filled, and I hope that they are. Things can change. So what happens when you're short vacancies? Now all of a sudden we got to fill shifts. If we don't fill the shifts, are we giving the citizens of Londonderry the services that they like and they have always enjoyed? Well, that becomes budgetary. Every time we have to do overtime, you have an overtime budget, and we're always talking about overtime budgets. So, I've taken a look at reports, and this is where my concerns are. And it's not in family permits, single-family housing. It's not in single-family housing. Where I see the concern is in multifamily, in big apartment buildings being built or being approved. There are great people in those buildings, but when they happen, they usually happen in phases, and when they come on, you have an abundance of people. You may, if phase one is 50, all of a sudden you have 50 new, 100 new plus kids. I won't go into the percentages, but you have to figure there are going to be kids on it. So when I take a look at these reports, this is my view of the reports. No one up here, I haven't really even talked to them about it, nor have I asked for any information. And please, don't get this wrong. This is factual information. We service Wallace Farm on a continuous basis. That has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 buildings, I think. They are constantly in the reports. McGregor Cut is constantly in the reports. Now, I'm not going to get into what type of reports, because to me it doesn't make any difference. When the chief of police or the fire department gets a call, it's a report. I don't know what it is. It could be a heart attack. It could be a domestic. It could be a number of things. Capitol Hill, which is an older establishment in town, older village, is consistently there. Kendall Woods, which I think Boulder's part of it. consistently making calls there. Charleston Drive, which is down by, I think, the pump station on the south side of town,
Maybe.
we're consistently there. Main Street, which is one of our newer ones, next to McGregor Cut, I'm starting to see more activity there. The Baldwin, which hasn't come online yet, that is a huge project. Yes, I can tell you that we do have a developer's agreement with it, and that when they become tax negative, and correct me if I'm wrong, John,
Yeah, Main Street's under the same agreement.
then we start to look that they've got to start providing people for us. Right now, in what I call the pipeline, that is being considered, we have Vista East and Vista Reg, which is up by Vista, and we're looking at, and these are approximate numbers, but I think I'm pretty close, 187 units. And they're already talking about that. So, I mean, that's a reality right now.
Those are townhomes?
I believe they're townhomes. But we're talking 180 plus or minus. We have the Ultra at Woodmont Commons, which is part of Wood Partners. They have been in. They're looking at over 200 units. 200 units. And they're actively pursuing it. And then there's another one, I want to say that Varani has something to do with it, but I'm not sure. But that's 18 units. So what I'm seeing now, through the budgeting process, through listening to the school, through listening to the fire chief, listening to the police chief, we're strained now as it is. And maybe you don't realize it, but what can happen if, in my opinion, if we don't seriously look at it and look for another GMO, that what's going to happen, it's going to be too late, and instead of the fire department making a call for a heart attack at 5 minutes, now all of a sudden that service is going to get extended, I hope not, but could get extended to 10. Because we're shorthanded, and we have a lot more that's coming into town. So in my opinion, and I've been here 36 years, I think we really need to have an open discussion about providing a new growth management ordinance in this town. We need to start to control it. Because if we don't now, and all of a sudden 5 years down the line, it's too late. It's too late. So that's my opinion. That's what I would like to see us move forward on, when we have new councils.
So,
But
just so you're aware, that has
Yep.
to start at the planning board.
Yep,
And the
that's
growth
correct.
management ordinances are, there's a very tight criteria laid down by the state. So the
understand.
criteria that's laid down by the state hasn't been the easiest to work with. And there would probably need to be legislation to change how growth management ordinances are done. Yes?
Well,
Are you shaking up and down? Yes?
We would need some legal advice before we would proceed on anything like that, given
Yeah.
what
I-
legislation is in place and
I understand what you say, and I don't disagree. I understand what you say, and I don't disagree.
I'm not saying
But
we
I
shouldn't
think we have
start.
to bring it up, and we need to start it. If we
no.
run into roadblocks, so be it. But
Just setting expectations. I'm
Oh.
all for it. Go ahead.
I just wanted to say Jim's 110% correct. And the other thing to look into with your growth management as a part of it, if you read it, it says that you can include infrastructure. If you don't have enough sewer, water, or if traffic is impending certain areas that you can't handle, then you can also put in a growth management, and you can keep, as it sunsets, you can keep clicking it forward and saying, no, we haven't addressed this yet. No, we haven't addressed this yet.
No, I think this is great information, it's great ideas, I'm glad you brought it forward, it should be something that we should be working on, but we need to get some clear direction, and if we need to send a message to the delegation from Londonderry that we need help, we need to find out what that is.
well, the other thing too
Totally
is,
agree with you.
you said it
Great
starts
idea.
at the planning board. Well, I think that we should notify the chairman of the planning board and say, we're requesting this.
Well, we can.
I think we need to tell them.
We can direct the staff to do that.
Okay, that's good.
So, Mr. Chair, it's being the newest member on the council, you mentioned the planning board has to initiate the process. What are the follow-on steps beyond that? I understand there's legal and,
Uh, there's a whole process for developing an ordinance. It goes through the planning board, it goes through multiple public hearings. The planning board vets the new ordinances. Once they've vetted the new ordinance and have gotten into a point of where they're ready to recommend it to the council, it will come to the council. The council will also go through multiple public hearings, take input. We may send it back to the planning board for few more discussion. The discussion, we, the council, can also make a decision to change the ordinance and approve it the way we decide to approve it, as long as it's legal. We can't approve an ordinance that's not legal,
Yeah, but I also want,
which happened many years ago, but had to be corrected.
and,
Thank you.
which I also want to repeat that we've had two GMOs, one in 1998 and one in 2002. And the 2002 under law they have to sunset at one point, and that sunsetted in 2017. So I think it's something that we should bring up and that taxpayers should watch closely.
I agree.
No, I think it's great input, great ideas.
No, I agree.
Okay, anything else from the council? All right, so I'm gonna shift the agenda around a little bit. We've obviously had a conversation about growth management ordinance, so I think you got the message that we wanna start seeing what's required. Anything else?